Hello, boys and girls. We're going to try to do numbers 6 and 9, which talks about division by tens, hundreds, and thousands. And then after that, number 9 goes into, number 8. I'm rushing along. Number 8 goes into division by a 2-digit whole number. So this is going to be a lot like the multiplication one that we did the other day, except that we're going to be making the number smaller. So the way I remember this is that if I have a cookie and I need to divide my cookie by 4 friends, my piece that I get is going to be smaller. So therefore, if I have anything I'm dividing, it's going to get smaller. So let's see. If I have the number 7 and I'm dividing it by 10, that means I'm going to have to give this number to 10 people, break it into pieces. Well, I know that $7, my decimal would be here. So the same thing happens with 7. So if my decimal's here and it's going to get smaller, then if I went this way, the number would go to 70. That would get bigger. So I want to go this way, which means to the left, so that my number gets smaller. So 7 divided by 10, I have 1 0 in the 10, so I'm moving one spot and it would make it 0.7. Okay, so this is just like the multiplication. You just need to make sure that you're keeping track of, is my number getting smaller or bigger? Okay, so let's do another one. If I had, let's say 7 divided by 100. Well, now I'm not only dividing by 10, I'm dividing by 10 times that, 100. So that means I have 1, 2 zeros. So my decimal, which would be right here, is going to move 2 spots. It's going to be 1, 2 spots. And remember, I said if there's nothing there, you put a 0 in its spot, and it's going to turn into 7 hundredths. All right, so let's try another one. If I had the number 0.07, and I went and divided that by 1,000, I would count the zeros, 1, 2, 3, and I would say this number is not going to get bigger, it's going to get smaller, so it's going to go that way. So now I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go like that, move the decimal there, and you can go back and erase it, and there you go. All right, so hopefully that would not be much more than counting and practicing. And it is very important that when you finish watching, you go back and try all the problems in there to make sure you're understanding it, because if you don't, then it's going to give you trouble in the future. All right, so the next section we're going to do, I know that was quite a fast section. The next section we're going to do is the section about dividing by a 2-digit whole number. All right, now, the huge thing you need to remember is when you have 2 digits, one, you need to know those facts, because you're going to be taking a long time if you don't. But also, you need to estimate in your mind. Not give an estimated answer unless they ask you for it, but actually estimate in your mind. So let's look at one. If we had 19, and then we had the number 5928. All right, 5928 divided by 19. Then in my mind, I'm thinking 20 and 6,000. I know 3 times 20 is going to give me, 60, right? So then I know about 300 times 20 is going to give me 6,000, because I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. 3 times 2 is 6. That gives me that. So now I have an idea that I'm probably going to have to use the number 3. So that helps us, because then we don't have to sit there and go through all the facts, 19 times 1, 19 times 2, 19. No, we already know, okay, well, it's probably going to be about 3, or if we do it, it's close. So I'm going to put a 3 here. Now, it might be a little off, but then to the side, I can do 19 times 3. That's fine. And then I know that's 27. 3 and 1 plus 2 is 57. Well, look at that. Pretty close. 57, I subtract, and I get 2. 19 going to 2, no, bring down the 2. 19 going to 22, yes, how many times? 1. 1 times 19, 3. Can 19 go into 3? What about 38? Well, I think 9 plus 9 is 18. Put down 8. It's going to be 2. And that is 38. So do you see how I use estimating to help me to find my answer? So that helps you when you do 2-digit facts or division. So the next thing is now we're going to take that and we're going to put a decimal into it. So I'm going to take the same problem and let you see how it works with a decimal. So I'm going to do 1959.28. And what do I do with my decimal? I just bump it up like that. I already know that I'm estimating this is 60 and this is 20, so I know it's 3. And we did it before. So 3 times 19 is going to give me 57. I subtract, I get 2. I bring down a 2. I go 1 times that is 19. I subtract, that gives me 3. I bring down to 8. 19 into 38 is 2. Well, it's not that much different. So all you do with that is just bump that decimal up. But when you're trying to figure out the facts, you always want to make sure that you estimate to get the answer, because otherwise you're going to be sitting there forever trying to write all your facts. I'm going to see a paper with all these facts on the side, but you don't have to do that. So let's try another one. Let's see, if I had 2877, okay, divided by 42. Well, I would say this is about 40, and I would say that this is about 28, let's just say, because I know that 4 times 7 gives me 28. So that gives me help on figuring out how to find this answer. So again, I know my decimal just pops up. I know 42 can't go into 2. I know 42 can't go into 28, but I know that 4 times 7 gives me 28. So let's see, it's probably going to be 7 or maybe a little less than 7. So I know my number's going to be here. I'll do on the side, 42 times 7. 7 times 2 is 4, carry the 1. Okay, so I'm at 294, a little above, so that tells me it has to be 6. 6 times 2 is 2, carry the 1. 24 plus 1 is 25. I subtract that, and then I get 3 and 5. Can 42 go into 35? No. Bring it down, 7. Now wait a minute, I'm left with this and this. I can sit here and go through all my facts, or I can say, well, how many times 40 go into 35? So what gets close to that? Maybe 8. So let's see, if I have 42 times 8, that's going to give me, 8 times 2 is 6, carried 1. 32 plus 1 more is 33. Now I know that it can't be 9 because 9 times 4 is 36. That's too big. So it has to be 8. So I put the 8 here. I already multiplied it and got that. And I'm left with 2, 1, 42 into 21. I'm going to put another 0 here. Okay, and see. I don't know. It might need to stop. And when you're doing these, it will tell you to 2 decimal places, to 3 decimal places. If it says 2 decimal places is what it wants, you need to do 3 so that you can find what that one is. So let's do 42 into 210. Well, I know if I have 40, 4 times 5 gives me 20. So it's probably going to be close. Let's see. 42 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down a 0, carry the 1. 4 times 5 is 20. Look at